left my water. Oh, Director Cooper.
Yeah.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please be seated. Thank you. City Clerk Ed Norris, please call the roll.
Mayor McClellan.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Here.
Councilmember Seligson. Here. Councilmember Burns.
Here.
Councilmember Speech.
Here.
Everybody's here. Before we approve the agenda, I'd like you to make 3 notes. Please omit 7A, the proclamation honoring Representative Ellen Kogan Lipton, as her plane was delayed. So I'd like to adjourn that to the next meeting. Next would be item 15A1. Please add this referring to our signs, the new signs going up. And because our city attorney is ill, please omit 18, the closed session. So motion to approve the agenda as amended.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next, we have the consent agenda. These are routine items presented for city council approval without discussion as a single item. Any member can have an item removed from this blanket approval. Item A, regular council meeting minutes of January 5th, 2015. B, special council meeting minutes of January 5th, 2015. C, business licenses, new and renewals submitted for January 20th, 2015. Library monthly report for October 2014, and meeting minutes of November 18th, 2014. Ethnic Advisory Commission meeting minutes of December 11th, 2014. Request for of the chairman of the Zoning Board of Appeals to cancel the January 27th regularly scheduled meeting. G, request to advertise for bids for lawn and landscape maintenance and other related items. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and supported. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. We don't have, looking around, we don't have elected officials. City Manager Tungate has an employee recognition.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and members of council and members of the public. I have the distinct honor this month of selecting Kimberly Maroney. And for those of you that don't know, Kim Maroney is our Director of Community and Economic Development. She has been with us a very short period of time, less than a year. In that period of time, she has done a tremendous amount of work for us, and I'm going to go into just a couple of those points in a moment. Kim lives in Elmont. She has 2 children. She has a degree from Oakland University, and she is working on her Economic Developer Certification Program, which for those of you who don't know is a pretty substantial certification program, and I'm very happy with that. Kim has taken on our city entrance sign project, which we'll be talking about later in the agenda. She is working on several big and small economic development projects. And I think most importantly, in the recent past, we have, Kim went over to the City Council, the City of Huntington Woods, and discussed our City Council's request to partner on a corridor improvement authority to serve the major commercial districts of our city through a tax increment financing district. All of this stuff is extremely complicated, and there's a ton of moving parts. And I just wanted to honor Kim this month because she has handled all of this with due care and great emphasis on building a better future for our city. And so, Kim, if you'd like to come up and join us, I'd like to have a photo session here.
You want to do the picture first? Well, I would like to thank the mayor and city council and Manager Tungate for the honor of having this award. I am very humbled by it. I enjoy working for the city here of Oak Park. It is a great community, and I see a great future here. We have a lot of things coming up in 2015, and we're going to be excited to announce them, so it should be a great year for the city. And I do want to let the rest of the staff in the city know that I do appreciate all the hard work that every department here does. It makes my job a whole lot easier to present the city as a great city to have businesses come to. So all of their hard work makes my job easier, and I appreciate that. Thank you.
The future of the city depends on our economic development, and it is in good hands with this director. Next on the agenda is public hearings. Need a motion to request scheduling a public hearing on February 16th, 2015 for consideration of creating an industrial development district for property located at 21750 Coolidge, Oak Park, Michigan.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion and questions. I wonder if City Manager Tungate would just walk us through this.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'd like to call Director Maroney up, and she can walk us through this request.
MOPEC, located on Coolidge, submitted an application back in December for some improvements they did to their building and also the addition of some equipment. At the time that they submitted it, we thought that the Industrial Development District was in place, which it was, However, we did not realize that it expired at December 30th of 2014. So we need to set up a public hearing to reestablish it so we can consider their application for an industrial facilities tax. Exemption, sorry.
Right. And any questions for the director? Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Burns,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Seligson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Motion carries unanimously. Next, we need a request to schedule a public hearing on February 16th, 2015, for consideration of granting an industrial facilities tax exemption certificate for this same property located at 21750 Coolidge, Oak Park, Michigan.
So moved.
Second?
Roll call vote, please.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Seligson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
And Councilmember Burns.
Yes.
Motion carried. City Clerk, there are no communications that we know of. No special licenses. Accounting reports, number 11. Motion to approve payment of an invoice submitted by Garen Luca Miller, P.C. for legal services in the total amount of $10,018.60. We will entertain a motion for payment.
So moved?
Second. Any questions or discussion? Roll call vote?
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Seligson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Councilmember Burns.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes.
Motion carried. Next, we have ordinances. We're on a second reading and adoption of the proposed text amendments to the City of Oak Park zoning ordinance, Article 2, definitions, and Article 18, signs. A motion for the second reading and adoption.
So moved?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Discussion or questions? Council member Speech.
Yes, I did have a discussion. I'm looking for the part, I have a question for the Economic Development Manager.
Director Maroney, please. Yes.
If you can direct, I'm sorry, I'm looking for the section in here that talks about the 3 appointed individuals. Is that in here?
Yeah, it's at the
The
back.
very back, right?
The very back of that section. And the 3 people who are going to be appointed are going to be a city council representative, a member of the planning commission that will be selected by the planning commission chairperson, and a resident that the city will select by the mayor.
Okay, so my question was, is it, after they make the decision on the mural, would that be the final decision, or are they going to be then coming back to city council for the final decision?
It comes back to city council if there's a dispute as to whether or not this would be suitable for inclusion in the city.
Okay, but as it's written, that's the only case that it would come back if there's a dispute?
Correct.
Okay, so I want to make a motion that it be added that they come back to the city council for the final decision.
That would be, let's see. How is that?
amendment, or?
Is this an amendment?
It doesn't change the sign ordinance itself, it just
Right.
changes the process of the mural portion.
Okay.
The
So what do I
process
need
isn't
to do?
included as part of the ordinance. What's included as part of the ordinance is allowing the murals. The process itself can be changed.
So what would I
And
need
the
to do?
procedure for changing the process to include coming back to the council for final approval?
Yes.
Can that be done?
Yeah, we can make the
administratively?
changes and
add
come
that.
back at the next meeting if you so like.
If I could, the direction that you gave us at the first reading was that it was appropriate the way that we had presented it, which was exactly what you see in front of you. That did not include a recommendation back to city council for their authorization. The administrative recommendation that was supported at the time was to approve this through the administrative channels already in place.
And just to add one thing too, you may not want to be the ones who have final say in it. If you think that through, it might make more sense to not be the ones who make that decision.
Why?
Just for political reasons.
Well, the
If
reason
you're the one approving and disapproving, you're the one that's responsible for the answer to that. So it can have ramifications, and if you so choose to be the body that does that, that's fine, but we're trying to protect the city council.
Well, no, I really feel that we are responsible, so that's why I asked the
And,
question.
yeah, that's why
We
we-
are responsible for the building, so, but the reason, and to Eric, to the city manager's point, I do understand that it wasn't something that was brought up for administration before, but I've looked at this because, as I mentioned when this was first brought up, there are a number of people that have concerns about how certain buildings already look in the city. And so I take it very seriously, and I was rereading this again last night, and it came up. I thought, well, if there's another oversight that the city council can have, maybe this would be it. And so, no, it didn't come up when we first approved it or the second reading, but it came up last night. So that's why I'm bringing it before, again, just as a point of oversight for the citizens, certainly not trying to make your job harder, and I certainly appreciate all the work you've done. But if there was another layer that could happen, because the three appointees that are going to be on this board, you know, I hope would represent the, you know, desires and the goodwill of everyone, but certainly the ultimate responsibility would lie on the council. I mean, that's who the citizens elected. So that's what I'm thinking about.
Madam Mayor.
City Manager Tungate.
Councilmember Speech, I hear you loud and clear, and I respect your opinion. The suggestion that I would make, and as you know, I'm going through here always looking at ways to cut out bureaucracy, but if that's the path in terms of a recommendation to City Council, if that's the path that City Council decides here tonight, then my recommendation from the administration would be to not set up this board, because you would have the ultimate approving authority anyway. We would still have the administrative guidelines in place, but City Council would have the authority then to approve or deny the request.
Mayor Pro Tem.
I have no problem with having a board. We have lots of boards and commissions that are advisory to us on policy decisions, and Planning Commission has many more members than 3 members that, and they deliberate, and then they submit it to the council. I just think I agree it would be in line with how business is done here, that council's the final seal to a deal. I think that that's what we do in general, and why would we make an exception here?
Okay, Councilman Sullivan, do you have anything to add?
I tend to like it the way it is,
Because?
for the reasons stated by the city manager. I mean, it's, you know, I like, you know, I've always been for cutting. I have no problem telling people what I feel when. This is not an issue of protection. It's an issue of making the city work quickly and efficiently for residents and businesses. And that's, I think, what we're here for.
Seems
And that's
to
why I
be
like it the way it's written.
a touchy issue that maybe residents want to weigh in on, or nobody quite ever agrees on what is a pretty mural. Councilmember Burns.
I just would like to add that I like the way that it's written now, and on the committee, there will be a council member
Right,
on the committee
right.
that will be representative of us and how we feel.
And Madam Mayor, can I add to that? I neglected to say that a moment ago. We did change the makeup of the proposed 3-member board to include a city council member for that very reason. So we did make that amendment since the last draft you saw.
Okay, Councilmember Speech.
And please correct me if I'm wrong. I don't mind that at all. But if I understand this right, the way that it's written, we're not just considering business signs as murals. This could be.
No.
It could be.
If it is a sign, it's treated as the sign ordinance is written.
But it could be a mural that has wording in it. That's a sign. It could be a picture,
It could be a picture
It could
in
be a
reference
color.
to the type of business that's in that building.
right? It could be a color. It can be a number of things that people consider a mural. And as it stands right now, because I've talked to a number of residents, and I won't mention the location or the business, but there are residents, because we haven't designated a zone for murals in the city, there could be a number of places that people have residents and that are concerned of, they have a building that's a certain color that they don't like and it's affecting their residential area. And that's a real concern. So that's something that I'm trying to, how do residents weigh in on that when there's an issue like that?
I would
And
like,
I've been asked about that.
yeah, I would like, if it's okay, to call up our planner, Kevin Rokulski, to discuss the reason why we put the mural ordinance in place is because we have no rules right now in regards to that. Somebody can put a mural up tomorrow and we have nothing governing it. So this is more of a protection for the city than anything, but I'd like Kevin to talk a little bit more about that.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Actually, we believe that this portion of the ordinance actually offers us a greater protection than we currently have. And the reason is because we don't regulate art in this community. And because it's a difficult thing to regulate. There's constitutional protections about free speech that make it difficult to do things like to say your building can't be yellow. Because what color yellow? A bright yellow, a subtle yellow? And so those are difficult things to regulate. And so what we've done in this ordinance is to say, first, let's decide what we have here. Is it a sign or is it art? And if it's art, does it have a portion of that art that has some representation that reflects to the business? And we actually thought that having murals in the community was a positive thing, and that we might encourage them if we allowed some of these murals to have a portion that had some sort of reflection of the business. And if you read the language talks in ways that these references are subtle. And I guess one of the best ways I can explain that is if we had a flower shop and they decided to paint this beautiful field that had flowers, et cetera, and there was a little cart that said Oak Park Florist that was traveling through that, that would be a subtle way that the business could reflect what they do. And we also could get then a lively piece of art that might make our community more upbeat, lively, and that's really what that was about. And
I think
so,
Councilmember Speech is talking about like a building that's painted a garish color in someone's opinion.
That's exactly right, in someone's opinion, and that's the difficult part to regulate.
Now, some cities do regulate that.
You have a greater opportunity to regulate things such as color and style in a community that has a certain tone to it. And let's think in terms of Frankenmuth, Gaylord, where they have this Bavarian theme. So they've been very successful in regulating style and color because it reflects this community character that's very well established. Most communities don't have some sort of a style or theme that's as precise as a Gaylord or a Frankenmuth. So it would be difficult for us to say, well, Oak Park's theme is what? I mean, that would be a difficult thing to establish. So we've called ourselves the family city, and that's an appropriate thing. But I don't know how you regulate art or color in regards to being a family city. So like I said, these are difficult things to regulate. So we looked at a number of ordinances that regulated murals. And what we thought was by putting this in place, at least we had something. We now had a mechanism to determine whether or not, if somebody wanted to paint something on their building, whether it was a sign, whether it was art, or was it something that we call a limited reference art mural. And so that's why this is in here. It wasn't.
So we can regulate tasteful and family-oriented.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, there have been a bazillion, court cases, Supreme Court decisions that try to narrow that, but it's a difficult thing to put your finger on. So I think we tread lightly here, because the bottom line is right now, if someone came to me and said they wanted to paint a mural on their building, I don't know how we could say no. Because it's art, and we have no regulation that says you can't put art on your wall.
So this is better than what we had. Councilmember Speech, did you have another question?
I do. I'll make a statement before, to how, as far as how we could regulate it, we could put a regulation that says no murals. That would be my, the first way we could do that, but I won't go off into that. The work that you all have done on the murals, I commend you, and I actually think it's something that, Oak Park, it will do well. I'm concerned because the citizens have raised some concerns, and one of the questions I have is regarding residents that live near buildings and their property is facing it or is near it, and they don't want that. That is the case right now, and we don't have murals. They're near buildings that they don't like how the building looks. So, it's not so much a question, but just a statement about that. That's an issue.
Sure.
And so that will become an issue for council as things go on, if people don't like what's going up, near them.
Right.
That's the one thing. And then also, you mentioned, the analogy about the flower shop, but we don't just have pretty flower shops, as businesses. So, we also have to think about what could people imagine to put on their walls. And, that is something that is just a little bit unnerving too. The size, and I know you all have addressed the size and the, limitations in that area, but creativity is subjective, tastefulness is subjective, colors, et cetera, and there's just some things that I'd like to be limiting on, and I mentioned this in the first draft of this, that we're in a place economically, economic development-wise, that we're doing a lot of great things, and the question is how much of it has to be done right now. Even though we're not doing anything, does everything have to be done right now in order for some of it to be allowed? That's the question that I put before council.
Well, it seems that our economic development team that we hired to give recommendations to the city recommended having murals as an attractive thing to enliven the city. So given that, I think that there should be murals, and it's always going to be a little questionable whether you like it or I like it or something. Mayor Pro Tem had his hand up.
Okay, there's two issues. I don't know if we have consensus or support on this, but every board and commission has council members sitting on it. That doesn't mean that they don't recommend to council. Council is the final say, and usually, when it comes to council almost as a formality is going to say, great, let's go. I understand for expediency that temporary signs, we have a problem getting the information here in time for council meetings, and I'm willing to forgo that administratively. But in every case, when we have a board that's set up, it's advisory, and they are there to provide council with the guidance on policy. Council takes it up at the meeting, and it usually approves it, and usually doesn't have very many questions. But that is how business is conducted in every other board and commission. I'd like to see it done that way here, too. The second issue is apparently, I guess, we can regulate art. We can come up with a theme for the city. We can say that we want art that reflects a theme of parks and woodlands for the city. I mean, there are possibilities for that, if I'm hearing you right, that we could actually come up with something that gives a guidance for what kind of styles we want in the art. We really haven't looked into that. This is like saying it's a step better than having nothing, but I'm not sure if what we have is enforceable. I don't know if we have anything here that's clear that's going to be any different than not having anything.
Can we go, yes, Councilmember Seligson.
I will just, again, being one of the world's great bores, but I will just tell you this: when Diego Rivera painted his mural down at the Detroit Institute of Arts, it was roundly panned.
Yeah.
Now it is one of the biggest draws that museum gets.
That's true.
So when it gets down to regulating art and, and take it from somebody who knows very little about art, it's a touchy subject, and I'm really not sure we want to go there.
Mm-hmm.
That even if we did have the expertise to make these decisions, like I said, the people that panned Rivera's mural initially, they were wrong.
Madam
And
Mayor.
they were supposed to know something about art.
It's true. City Manager Tungate.
Madam Mayor, members of council, couple of things. Really, this is no different than other matters that come before and pertain to the zoning ordinance. You're really, if you think about a zoning ordinance, you're legislating taste throughout. I mean, the way cornices are, the colors of homes, et cetera. But I want to make it clear, the administration is speaking as the chief executive of the administration. I don't put up any roadblocks to having city council approve these, and I know my staff won't either. That's fine, but we still have to approve administratively these general guidelines, so at the very least, when we bring something forward to you, it's what's generally accepted as tasteful or acceptable in our community, as we've done with the zoning ordinance.
It's likely council will get credit or blame regardless of whether it's a committee or us. Yes. Any further questions or discussion? Can this,
So there needs to be an amendment to the motion.
so we need an amendment for final approval by council?
That was a question for Ed.
First vote on the amendment. Okay, so we need an amendment to have final approval by council.
Oh, didn't I make a motion? I don't need a motion for that?
I think you need to make a motion to amend.
I make a motion to amend to read that there's final approval for the council, by the council.
And there's a second?
I'll second it.
Okay.
Discussion.
Discussion. Further discussion.
Further discussion?
Further discussion.
We're not up here to dodge things politically. We're up here to make decisions on behalf of the residents, and that is what we are elected to do.
I don't know.
Any other further feelings or discussion? It's on a council agenda, then that means the public can weigh in. Is that going to allow that? So then, we have support on the amendment. Okay, vote on the amendment, please.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Councilmember Burns.
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Selleck.
No.
Passes 3-2, so after this commission makes a recommendation, final approval by council was accepted.
Do you know where that goes? In the.
Now we need to vote on the whole thing. Okay, let's see. Okay, so a motion to approve the second reading and adoption of the proposed text amendment with amendments to the City of Oak Park zoning ordinance, Article 2, definitions, and Article 18, signs.
So moved. Oh,
Okay, and second? Second? Okay, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Burns.
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Selleck. No. Councilmember Speech.
yes.
Motion carries 3-2. Thank you all. I respect your opinions both ways. I personally don't think anything bad happens if it's okayed by council, but nothing to lose. We're going to get hit up regardless, so might as well just put it out there. Where are we? We are at the city manager portion of our agenda. City Manager Tungate.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council, and members of the public. Director Maroney, can you join me at the podium again here? Council members, you're going to see two ASI sign requests, including 15A1 that we added to the agenda. Can you go through 15A and then we'll get to 15A1?
Sure. 15A, attached is an invoice 26759 for the City Welcome Sign Package. It is for the fabrication of the signs that are to be installed. There's a total of 12 signs which we purchased. The installation has been delayed a few weeks due to the incorrect ordering of the brick. The current budget amount was $100,000. Previous payments total $49,159.34. It's incorrect on what you have there. I realized an error that I had in that.
Read that again, read that amount again.
$49,159.34. Attached invoice today is $39,148.33, which brings us to our total current purchase price of $88,307.67. We're asking for approval of that payment.
Okay, motion to approve the payment, please.
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Questions? Councilmember Burns.
Now, this is for the signs that are going around the city with the new brick, the delay
Yes.
because of the sign. So can we, okay. Now I know how to vote, okay.
Okay. And members of council, I wanted to say that, one of the things that I've asked Kim to do and other staff is that we will withhold our final payments as part of this bigger contract until the project is complete. I've not been satisfied with the timing of this project, albeit during these cold winter months, but I had hoped it had been done long before now.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
To what percentage or what extent has the project been completed?
All the fabrication of the signs is complete. They were getting ready to install all of the rest of the signs with the brick, and when they got part of the brick up, it was noticed by our technical and planning director, Rob Barrett, that they were installing the incorrect brick. So we stopped them over the holidays doing that and got to the bottom of it, and it appears that they ordered the incorrect brick. They looked off an old invoice from when we had did our city welcome sign and ordered that brick, which apparently was switched sometime throughout that process. So they ordered the incorrect brick and bid on the incorrect brick as well.
Okay. I just like to comment that I am very uncomfortable paying 88% or even 85% if we add on the price of the new brick of a contract if it's not 88 or 85% complete. I know we can handle that administratively.
Yeah, the portion of the project that we're being billed for is the actual fabrication, and that is fully complete. We haven't been billed for any of the installation costs.
Okay, thank you for that clarification.
Further questions? Roll call vote then, please.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Councilmember Burns.
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
Yes.
Mayor McClellan.
Yes.
Councilmember Selleck.
Yes.
Okay, motion carries. We will be holding back payment of the installation until it's fully installed to our
Yes.
satisfaction.
That is correct, Madam Mayor. Members of council, if I could, before we go on to 15A1, in order to, I'm going back now to the previous matter, 13A. In order to amend an ordinance, it requires 4 votes. And I know we didn't make that point a moment ago.
No.
Having said that, the matter did not pass. I would like to say this, though, that, and I would have to vet this through our city attorney, who unfortunately isn't here. The guidelines that you were trying to amend are administrative guidelines. Those fall under my purview. I am willing to back those guidelines off and have the administrative guidelines require that it come to city council. So I don't know that an amendment is necessary. And I said this earlier, too, so it did not pass. It requires 4 votes to pass. But if it's acceptable to you, I will amend those administrative guidelines to include your final approval.
So when would this come up? But to pass this, it needs to be passed.
Yeah. And you have to bring it, the ordinance didn't pass. You have to bring it back to,
But to the next meeting.
Can you? I guess you can, yeah.
To the next meeting.
I mean, the second reading and the adoption did not pass.
Okay. Councilmember Burns, what are you thinking?
The changes that you're proposing to make, bringing the final decision back to the city council, does that now mean that there will not be a 3-person board? Because there's no need for it.
That's an excellent question. That would be my recommendation. why create another step in the process when it's going to come to you ultimately anyway?
Okay.
Any other, Councilmember Seligson, what are your feelings?
I just I voted no because I just think it should be as streamlined as possible. That's all.
So if it's
I don't
one-
think council has to look at every little aspect. I don't know that if we have a board out there that our decision is any better than anybody else's about art. But, like I said, I'll go along with what the city manager suggested. That's fine with me.
Sure. Councilmember Burns, are you comfortable with that?
Well, I liked the proposal the way it was, and I voted no to adjust it, and that was my final vote. But now that the city manager is going to rewrite it, then there's no need for a board.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, if I could, in order to reconsider the second reading and adoption of that ordinance, you would need a motion to reconsider that item.
Is everyone ready for that?
I have a comment.
Comment?
I believe in the necessity of a board, that we shouldn't be the only ones. If council's spending a lot of time micromanaging all the art that goes in the city and not getting recommendation from people who've had time to look into it,
Which way are you going?
I want a recommendation from a board, just like we have for everything else, and it comes to council. But I don't think we get rid of the board. It's like saying because council has the final say on the planning commission that we don't need a planning commission. There's a reason to have groups to be able to look into things and make recommendations to us, and that's so that it doesn't tie up council time in micromanaging. But ultimately, it is a council, it is a courtesy to council to be able to have a recommendation and then the adoption upon presenting it to council. That's how we run everything else.
Councilmember Speech.
I asked for the ultimate council to be on it because I feel like we are oversight, and as the Mayor Pro Tem stated, we do that with all commissions. But I want to make the point that this is a new ground that we're stepping into, and because we have a wonderful economic development manager and the
City planner.
City planner.
city planner, I forgot your title. City planner, that has done some research, we're relying on them, just like we'll be relying on the commissioners or whoever we appoint to this commission to do some things. But that's not to say that it should just go all up in smoke, because their work should go all up in smoke because it didn't go the way that we thought. I don't want that to be the case. I think this oversight that I'm suggesting for the city council should still be there. We cannot do it all. We do need the work of this board or commission or whatever to be our eyes and ears on that if it's to be in place. So I'm suggesting that the city manager is, of course, your decision administratively, but I would ask that you not get rid of it. And to a comment that was made, as city council, legally, we are ultimately responsible. Our choices and our decisions are different than others in the community because we're the city council members. We're elected to do it. Our choices are a little heavier than others. So I look at that as it's a little different than someone else's.
Can I?
Okay, so
We
I
would
think,
need a motion to reconsider, to have a discussion.
Before we do that, can I make a slight recommendation here?
One moment.
Okay.
Actually, we
Councilmember-
actually can't discuss this unless
can't
we
even
have a
discuss it.
motion.
Wait, we need a
Councilmember
motion
Seligson
first.
had a comment.
I am
If I-
totally confused.
Okay, if I could, Madam Mayor, you need a motion to reconsider and support of that motion to open up a discussion about it.
Okay, we certainly want to discuss it. So we need a motion to reconsider so we can talk about it.
So moved.
Second, so we can talk about it.
Second.
Second, all those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we can discuss, I think, the Planning Commission did something where they were going to have a lot of oversight at first, and then after a while felt comfortable turning it over to someone else. So perhaps the extra step can stay in at the beginning while everyone is very concerned about this issue. even though it is an extra step, just because it's, as Councilman Seligson said, when that mural went up, people had a lot of strong opinions about it, and now it is drawing people from everywhere around the world. Can we have this additional step just at the start for the first few murals until everyone is feeling a little more comfortable maybe, and then go on to something more expeditious?
Madam Mayor, if I could, you need a motion for the second reading and adoption that gets support, and
Okay.
open that up for discussion, and that's where we're at. The motion to reconsider was to reconsider the second reading and adoption.
Okay. Now, motion for the second reading and adoption of the proposed text amendment. Do we have a motion for that?
So moved.
Second.
Moved and seconded. So now we can discuss it. The two people who objected, could you go along with it for a limited time? If it was going to be dropped after certain, after, it seems like there's a lot of anxiety about it, and that's why they're wanting this extra level of looking. And maybe when we've had a few and everybody is more comfortable with it, they won't need that.
I'm really not sure what's happening, so I really don't know what direction we're going in here. I mean, either you have obviously, at least two different opinions here. Once we set up a board or commission, I'm of the opinion that if they have, in this case, they have specific guidelines to follow, they have a member of council there, and, we let them make decisions. I mean, if we say, yeah, you can come here, you can do all the work, and then council, and again, for whatever reason, and maybe, again, I have a different reason why I would not want this to come to council, because there are some types of art and some things that council may not, you find one of 5 people here that doesn't like something, I mean, that's very easy. It does, just because I don't like something doesn't mean it's not enhancing the city. And if we want to get the citizens' view and everybody else's view and make this an inclusive place where people have different opinions and they can be represented, and like I said, it's not going to be anything wild because we have a person on council. So if that's the idea, then let them make the decision. If if you're not going to let them make the decision, and if everything's going to come to council as to what I like and what I don't like, it's not about me. And that's all. That's just the way I feel.
Mayor Pro Tem.
My objection about not coming to council is just really reiterating what I think you said in the last meeting just before we got up here, was that boards and commissions help us to establish policy by making recommendations to council. And this is just another board that would make recommendations to council.
That's exactly not what I said at that meeting. What I said at the meeting is that we have to set the policy and the overarching guidelines, and then we let people do real things within those guidelines. Again, if, this is part of the problem. If we set up boards and commissions and then really don't let them have any say in it, and I'm not saying we should let things that go out wild or something that really is far from something that the city holds close and dear, but you've got to give people the ability to make decisions. Otherwise, they don't work as hard. People have to have a say in the process. Anyway.
Do you feel that bringing it to council and having it open to the public gives more people a say in the process?
You can, but then again, why are you having the board or commission?
Council member speech.
I just want to reiterate that what I have experienced so far is residents telling me what they feel or what the problems they have even before the mural recommendations came from the administration. What I haven't seen is businesses or residents come and say that they want them. I mean, I know that economic development manager, because I asked you at last city council, how many requests have we had? And I think you said 1 or 2. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen a slew of people to come and say, we want this, we need this. I know, Madam Mayor, that the economic development plan includes several things for our city into the future. But I haven't seen a number of, for us to be so involved in this conversation now, I haven't seen a huge request for this to, for our city. So I'm really confused as to why, this is a major plan right now for our city, and why we have to have it right now. And that's why I'm saying either we kind of incorporate oversight from the city council so that we can we need to be the final say and let it kind of be organic in growth, or asking, is this the right time for it at all? Because residents aren't happy with what they're seeing right now as far as colors and choices and things that businesses are already doing. So to incorporate murals into the process,
Well, I think you're talking about one building.
No, I'm not. I said I wouldn't mention, I wouldn't mention businesses and areas of the city because I don't think that would be fair, but it's not just one location.
What I'm hearing here is that there's the opinion not to have any kinds of murals, just,
No, I didn't say that. I'm just saying that I have heard that there are residents' concerns on one end, but I haven't seen on the other end where there's this huge request for something that, we're putting a lot of energy into. So I don't understand the need for it right now.
It's just a small piece in a large,
It seems pretty huge.
it is text amendments it's just one small piece of this larger thing that we definitely need in order. Can you speak about why we need this?
Madam Mayor, if I could, I'm going to take staff off the hook here on this. I'm going to address this from the administration's perspective. Let me make a recommendation, and you can take it or leave it. This is, to me, because of the discussion we've had here tonight, this is probably worthy of a work session. And so could I ask council to adjourn this matter until our next council meeting, at which point we will schedule a brief work session to go through all of these questions in great detail.
Sounds reasonable. So do we need a motion to adjourn? Adjourn the matter till the next meeting, so that we can discuss this in more detail.
so moved.
Support.
Support? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, adjourn to the next meeting.
Director Maroney, with all of that said, we have 15A1.
In reference to the welcome sign package, again, we briefly discussed before this that we had the wrong brick ordered. So there is an additional cost for the brick that we requested because there's more iron ore in the brick that we wanted, and there is an additional cost related to that. So we're asking that you approve the change order from ASI Sign for $4,275.
Okay, motion to approve this, please.
So moved.
Second for the purpose of discussion.
Okay.
Their mistake, they bid on something, they made a mistake, and now they want us to pay $4,275, which is not the sky here, but just the same, it's not our mistake.
Madam Mayor, if I could
City
address it.
Manager Tungate.
There's no doubt that it wasn't our mistake. This is the same mistake, by the way, that was made on our monument sign out here at the new entrance to the new City Hall. The $4,275 is not the cost to correct the mistake. It is the cost to upgrade to the better bricks.
So they're not charging us to tear down
That's
the old
correct.
bricks and put up the new bricks, they're just charging us the difference in the cost
Which
of
is
the old bricks and the new bricks.
Exactly, and which is exactly what they did for the monument sign out here.
But didn't our original order call for the type of bricks that we're asking for?
It absolutely did.
So it is their fault.
Absolutely their fault.
Okay.
But if they tried to charge it for us, that wouldn't happen.
But they are
Over my dead
charging us
body.
for it.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, we have discussion. Councilman Seligson. Lay it out there.
$4,000, we'll eat it. It goes down with a really bad taste in my mouth, but I'll vote yes.
Okay, any other comments?
Just clarification. The order, did it specify the type of bricks And they made the mistake once before, you think they would see it the second time, sir?
You would think, Mayor Pro Tem, it's very unfortunate, and Madam Mayor, if I could, just one other thing I wanted to add. Please keep in mind, as hard as this transition to our new welcome entrance signs has been, that this number, including the 4275, it's still going to, exactly, it's still going to fall under the budgeted amount for this, so we're still going to have some savings, albeit minimal.
Okay, is there,
Doesn't feel any better.
Yeah.
any other?
We're still there.
And there's no way to stick them with this 4,000?
Considering all the money that we spent with them, they should eat it.
That, if I could, Madam Mayor.
Please.
That would probably be a good customer service policy they'd want to adopt, but I've made it very clear to them that they're on the watch list here at this point. So we had initially asked for the project to be done long before now. So, you know, there's a lot of reasons why the bricks is one, the weather, et cetera. We expect this to be finished up by, what, Kim, February?
It depends on if this gets approved for them to order the correct brick then.
Okay.
It'll take a week for the brick to come in and another week or so, depending on whether to finish the project.
So they have multiple strikes against them.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, discussion? Mayor Pro Tem.
Just, I guess it's a legal question. If we were not to approve, would they still have to provide us with the bricks that we ordered and complete the job?
You're right, that's a legal question. Our attorney's not here. But I would encourage you not to do that so we can get the project completed.
Okay, and to try and get this thing through, roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Burns,
Yes, begrudgingly, but
Mayor Pro Tem Levine,
Yes, the litigation will cost us more than $4,000.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Selleckson,
Yes.
Councilmember Speech.
Yes.
Almost choked on that, yes. Motion carried.
Madam Mayor, members of council, I'd like to call our Deputy Finance Director, Phil Miller, up for 15B. This is our annual adoption of our border review compensation. Do you want to add to that?
No, it's the same as it's been for a number of years. We anticipate that if all the sessions are fully booked for Board of Review appeals, that it would cost the city approximately $1,200 for the 6 members to attend the 2 days of 2 full days and the 1 half day. And so there's really nothing out of the ordinary with this request from year to year. So if we can adopt this matter, then we would be able to start up the March border review stuff, and people will know what they're going to get paid.
Let's see. Okay, so we don't have a motion as of yet, do we?
Not yet.
Please, a motion to approve the rate of compensation for the Board of Review at $80 for a full day and $40 for a half day of service.
So moved.
second,
Discussion or questions? Roll call vote then.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine,
Yes.
Mayor McClellan,
Yes.
Councilmember Selleckson.
Yes.
Councilmember Speech,
Yes.
Councilmember Burns.
yes.
Motion carries.
Madam Mayor, members of council, I'd like to ask the Deputy Finance Director to go through 15C, but before I have him speak to it, this is the annual adoption of the poverty exemption policy, and I believe we're at 1.5 times the federal rate, correct?
Correct.
Do you want to further clarify that?
Yeah, so in the attached supporting documents, there is a bulletin number 14 of 2014, which outlines the size of family unit and the poverty guideline amounts. And then that's on, so that is the basis for which the poverty exemption gets calculated on. And in the city of Oak Park, we use 1.5 times the poverty rate for those families, whether they're one person or up to 6. And then there are additional members that can be calculated on. This year, we're also looking at assets a little more closely as part of the calculation, so that it's been raised in the past that there were concerns that you could be asset-rich, cash-poor. And so we are addressing that by instituting an asset limit that excludes homesteads but includes everything else, so that we can ferret out those who may be asset-rich, cash-poor, and still have them pay their proper amount of property taxes.
Okay. Are we comfortable with that?
Yeah.
We have a motion and a second. Need a motion, please.
Second.
First, we need, I think, it has.
So moved.
So moved and seconded. Okay. Any discussion, questions? Roll call vote, please.
Mayor McClellan?
Yes.
Councilmember Selleckson?
Yes.
Councilmember Speech?
Yes.
Councilmember Burns?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Madam Mayor, members of council, I'd like to ask our Library Director, Dana Broman, to join me at the podium for 15D. We are making a couple of changes to the library fee schedule at the recommendation of the Library Board. And I just wanted to add before you go that these, if you accept these changes will be reflected in the fee schedule that the annual fee schedule that, as I always promise, I'll be giving to you as part of our annual budget this year again.
Thank you, City Manager, Mayor, and Council. The library would like to request the, excuse me, that the council approve the change in fee schedule for the library by increasing the fee for printing black and white copies on our computers from 10 cents to 15 cents to allow us to put into place a technology replacement plan for materials going forward, and also to amend the fee for DVD rentals for new release DVDs only from, right now they're currently free, to $1 for 3 days, which would allow us to purchase more new release DVDs for our patrons and also decrease the amount of time that they're checked out, so it would increase availability for patrons going forward.
Okay. Motion to approve the Library Board's changed in fee schedule.
So moved.
Second.
Seconded. Discussion or questions? Yes.
These fees have come and gone over the years for things like this,
Yes.
and gosh, 15 cents a copy is going to be, well, if you're there, you have to pay it. I'm concerned that, I was looking at the reports, it seems that circulation is down, and I hope that we're going to be doing things, including what we're doing with the money collected from this, to be able to provide more service and increase the circulation and usage of the library amongst the residents.
Yes, yeah, we're currently looking over a lot of things to increase our circulation, get more books available to the patrons, of course, increase our DVDs. Our DVDs are one of our areas we're actually seeing an increase in circulation, so we're hoping that by providing more materials and newer materials that are a little bit more
Attractive.
yes, attractive, and going forward, that will be able to increase circulation in the area, and we're looking at ways to increase circulation in all areas going forward.
Okay. Any questions? Yes. Councilmember Speech.
This is a little unrelated, but I know you all take donated books. Do you take donated DVDs
Yes,
as well?
we do. Yes, we take donated DVDs. We give those to our special services librarian, which is Irina Kushner. She looks through them, depends on where they would fit in our collection. If we don't use them, then we give them to our friends of the Park Library, who then sell them in their used book sales, either during our monthly sale that's in our little area by the front door, or in the big sales that they will currently have. The next one will be in April.
Okay. Are we ready to vote on the fee schedule? A roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Selleckson?
Yes.
Councilmember Speech?
Yes.
Councilmember Burns?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Levine?
Yes.
Mayor McClellan?
Yes, motion carried. I wonder if you'd just take a minute and just tell us what's new in the library.
Oh, there's always something going on. Speaking of DVDs, we're looking at changing the way that we check out DVDs, which will make it more attractive to our patrons. We're going to get rid of the clunky cases that we have now, put just the sleeves out on the case on the floor, and pull the DVDs themselves back behind the circulation desk, so that way it gives us a chance to look at them when they come in, when they go out, so we can keep track of which ones are damaged and so on and so forth, which benefits us because we know which ones we have to replace, but it also benefits our patrons because now they're not going to get charged erroneously for something that they had no, that they did not do to the materials. So, so protection for them, protection for us. So that's one thing that we're looking forward. We're looking at trying to rearrange the library layout to try to make up some breaks for sound and give some separation between groups. We're looking at changing up our teen area to really give them a sense of space and to give them a little area that's away from the adult area, so there's a separation between the two, so that actually hopefully that will help with some of our rambunctious patrons. So.
And Madam Mayor, if I could, because this is the city manager report, I would like to add that from a technology perspective, Brandon didn't mention this. I'm proud to say that as far as the circulation desk goes, we have installed all new computers. So the problems that we were, which at this point was one additional beyond the two we already had, but at this point, as far as I know, we're not having any troubles with our circulation desk.
Yeah, it's
the other
significantly.
The other matter for consideration, and this is something that I've mentioned to the mayor, there are several, I think as many as 10, is it 10 public computers?
12.
12 public computers that once we can find a way to pay for, they, without question, need to be replaced. And, will make the library more, enticing for people to come in and use it and probably increase circulation, et cetera. So that is something that we hope to be able to pay for out of the savings on the City Hall building project, but until we get farther down towards the end of those funds, we won't be able to spend. So I'm looking into it, I'm holding it there, and when the time is right, we'll pull forward.
That's good news. That's good news. And your the monitors are a new thing this year. Can you speak
Yes.
to that a little bit?
Yes, we have the two monitors right now. We have Mr. Payne, who is our new monitor, and of course we have Mrs. Oliver, who we've had for many years. Both of them are working very well together. We've, I think we've seen a pretty big decrease in the number of major incidents. Of course, we have daily incidents, but they're not as many as they have in the past. So I think things are starting to get a little bit more copacetic over there, I guess you would say. We're kind of learning what's going on, so I think things are moving forward very well. And I think adding this teen section that we're trying to do will take the next step and added an increased level of, I don't want to say protection, but it will give us another layer of buffer between our teen and our adult patrons. So hopefully that will help alleviate some of the tensions we've had.
And just to add to that, members of council, that we are adding, in the process of adding, a third monitor. We had 3, person left, and we're in the process of replacing that position as we speak.
And I think as the director, your experience with teens and with students is coming in great. It's great for the library. Because you're a teen-friendly person and effective dealing with teens, and
yeah, and we definitely do want them there. I mean, they are, it goes without saying that they're the future of the library going forward. They are our future patrons. They're our future, taxpayers. They're going to be the ones who set things going forward as far as the library is concerned. So we definitely want them to be involved. We want them to have a voice, and we want them to have as good of experience in the library and a good relationship with us as we possibly can.
wonderful.
And I can bring him back for a departmental update if you would like me
I
to,
would
but
like that, yeah.
I didn't want to put him too much on the
Well, that's
spot during
fine.
the city manager report. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Madam Mayor, members of council, that completes the city manager report for the evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we're at call to the audience. Each speaker's remarks are a matter of public record. There's a 3-minute time limit. Please give us your name and address.
Maxine Goodfriend, and I'm here. I apologize for my tardiness. I had another meeting to go to. However, if you would lend me your ear for just a moment, as the president of the Oak Park School PTA Board of Education, I would like to tell you that I have asked Mr. Hoyda to represent us once a month here at the council meeting, and he will be coming tonight. He could not make it. So in brief, of course, yesterday morning was Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday. We had a very successful time at Oak Park High School. It was well received. It was held by all of our children from elementary through the high school, and it was exciting. It was different than we've had in the past. Our elected representatives were there as well. So it was very successful. I hope in the future that next year some others will be able to come. The mayor was there and gave greetings to our community. So thank you very much. And what is happening in Oak Park? Well, in Key School, they're going to have their annual Dad Day, Uncle, Grandparents dance as they've had in the past, which is successful, and that will be on February the 5th. So anybody in the audience that hears about it is more than welcome to come. It's beautiful. So we would hope that this community would be able to come out with their little girls to give them a grand time, and it's very festive. Our marching band left today to go to their Honda competition. It's very interesting and exciting. They've done very well in the past, and we're hoping that they'll come back with awards again. They're really great kids, great. And we have them all ages from 8 years up to senior high school. So we're really doing some terrific things. Oak Park has a partnership with Ferndale in regards to a community awareness. So they had a breakfast this past week. We will have another one sometime during the winter months. It's very successful. So we are working with Ferndale as bringing into our community and widening, as the city has done the same in the past. We like it, they like it, and it was extremely successful. They had a brunch the other day, so even though the schools were closed because of the weather for our children, there was the brunch, and there were approximately 30 people that attend. Other than that, Mr. Hoyt will be here next month, and thank you for your time.
Wonderful, thank you. One of the highlights of that was the Stompers.
Yes.
The dance Stompers, and I thought maybe for our World Day of Dance, we would like to invite them to come.
They're really
and
terrific.
perform. And
Their
maybe at
energies
the
are-
Summerfest, I was wondering
I'm
if they
sure
could-
they would be delighted.
They were the highlight of the
Yes.
evening. Thank
We have
you.
the high school as well as the middle and elementary schools that do it.
Terrific.
Thank you.
Hi, Michelle Stevenson, 24140 Ridgedale. Two items. Number one, this is now the third week of January, and I have yet to see our branch newsletter, and I'd like to know when we're going to see it and what is the reason that we have not seen it yet. So,
We'll get
can
an
anyone
answer for
answer
you.
that?
Yep, we'll get you an answer.
And then the other thing is, I just want to, on behalf of the Recreation Department, there is a Winterfest this coming Sunday at the Community Center, inside and out, and it's always a fun time. It's 1 until 3 o'clock, and please tell everyone about it, your family, and bring everybody. It's just fabulous. Okay, that's it.
Thank you. We'll get you an answer on that. Maybe our communications director?
Ed Bass, 24250 Kipling. Maybe I'm wrong, but the increasing library fee schedule used to be free DVDs, new releases?
Only the new releases will have this charge. The normal collection will still be free. 95% of them will still be free, just the very
New
new
releases, it's charged, right?
New releases are charged.
I didn't agree, because media is media. Books and magazines, audiobooks, CDs, they're all media. It should be free, the first couple of days or 3 days. Anyway, that's my input.
Thank you, appreciate your input. Anyone further? No? Everybody else is happy? All right. Mayor Pro Tem Levine.
I just want to wish everybody a good night. Hope to see you all at Winterfest. It's one of those wonderful occasions where we get everybody from all different parts of the community together as one community. So get out there, see your neighbors on Sunday.
Thank you. Council member speech.
Just want to say, everyone be careful. Also want to mention that this weekend, actually Monday, yesterday, Oak Park and myself included, some of the residents were over in Southfield participating for the first time in the Martin Luther King Jr. Task Force in their 30th anniversary celebration. We had Mr. Fred Gray, who was the attorney for Dr. Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks. If you've seen the movie Selma, he was also portrayed in that by Cuba Gooding Jr. He was here, and we had an ad in their book, so Oak Park was represented well in the march, and just wanted to say thank you to everyone that said hello and knew who we were. But happy Martin Luther King Day to everyone that celebrated him, and have a good night.
Thank you. Councilmember Burns.
Thank you, everyone, for coming out. Please be safe and dress accordingly to the weather.
Councilmember Seligson.
Agree with everything that's been said. Have a good night.
That's a rarity, right there. Thank you. Just a few things. There was an open meeting at the Jewish Community Center, just letting you know that the city is doing all it can to keep this asset a viable institution in our community. And kudos to our city manager, who is meeting with the CEO of the Jewish Community Center with suggestions. To echo what Council President Maxine Goodfriend said, the Martin Luther King event was delightful. Everybody had a wonderful time. The kids were amazing. And the highest energy item was the stomp. And we can't wait to see them again. Martin Luther King had a quote that said, "Make a career of humanity, commit yourself to the noble struggle for equal rights. You will make a greater person of yourself, a greater nation of your country, and a finer world for us to live in." Can't top that one. Thank you and good night. This meeting is adjourned.